What's going on, guys? Dr.MooMoo here, and welcome back to the lab, where today we will be taking a look at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem to determine its quality. Let's get into it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been a part of my life for a long time. When the 2012 series came out, I was 8 years old, which was the prime time for me to get hooked. My brother and I owned many of the seasons on DVD, and we spent many days and many hours watching it. I was always the Donatello fan because he's the smart one, and I like to think I'm something of a smart one myself. My brother, on the other hand, liked Mikey because he's funny and goofy. So when this movie was announced, my brother and I were immediately excited. Yes, we've been borne by our excitement in the past, looking at you, Michael Bay, but this seemed different. This felt unique, epic, and extremely artful. As such, my expectations were relatively high, and thankfully, the movie did not disappoint. First, let's talk about the art style. Instead of striving for a realistic-looking art style, the creators and artists took a route that is thankfully becoming more popular thanks to Spider-Verse, and that is being unique. The creators decided to make the animation similar to that of a sketch a teen would draw, which instead of making the work feel sloppy and less professional, it managed to make the art style feel really nostalgic, a goal they seem to be going for. Even though this is a movie made for kids, it's also a movie made for adults who grew up on Turtles. This art style, more teenish approach helps bring the audience back to their kid or teen years. A happier time when watching Turtles was all they cared about other than what would be for dinner. The Turtles all feel like themselves too. Leo starts off not really having the respect of his brothers, at least in a leader capacity, but is able to gain it by the end by showing them he can be a leader. Ralph is strong and runs headfirst into danger. Donatello is full-on nerd, referencing animes multiple times. And Mikey is, of course, there to make sure everyone is having fun. He's the heart of the team. They all also feel like teens. They talk about movies like Endgame, artists like BTS. It all feels natural, not like what a 60-year-old thinks modern teens talk about. I mean, Donatello wears a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure hoodie at the end, and uses his knowledge of Attack on Titan to defeat the villain. This is what Donatello was missing. He could still be the tech guy, but please make him the geek too. Splinter is terrific in this too. The scene where he tries to go above ground to give his children a normal human life, only to be treated like a monster and resulting in his children almost dying, is a perfect way to show why he is afraid of his children interacting with the human world. Also, I like it better when Splinter is a human that mutated into a rat, like the 2012 version does, because then it's easy to explain his martial arts skills, since he was a human that did martial arts. Michael Bay's Splinter, since he was always a rat, just decides to learn martial arts seemingly for fun, which I find much less fluent for the story. As such, when they revealed in this movie that Splinter was a rat to begin with, I got scared they were going to take this approach. Instead, they might have given us the best Splinter out there. After his children almost die when he tries to give going above ground a chance, he decides to take up martial arts and teach the Turtles so he can protect them better, and they can protect themselves from humans. This is probably the most natural way to let Splinter and the Turtles learn martial arts, and I found it extremely clever. Also, Splinter starting as a rat makes the connection of him being frightened of humans and wanting to stay in the shadows even better than if he started as human, which is great for this movie. I love how he isn't quick to change his views on humans either. Even after getting help from April and saving the Turtles, he isn't quick to trust humans, saying, okay, there's just one good one here. It isn't until Superfly, the main villain, repeats a line he said towards the beginning of the film, that he realizes that maybe he's on the wrong side, and maybe he should try giving humans a second chance to make his boys happy. That's what's best about this Splinter. He feels like a dad first, then a teacher. If it isn't obvious, I think Splinter is like the most well-done character in this movie. Now, let's talk about the themes. This movie tackles a message we've seen a lot this summer for some reason, one of learning being yourself is okay, and it's society who needs a better view on you. It's a message that has sadly needed to be spread for years as LGBTQ+, people of color, and any other minority group is constantly outcasted and treated like monsters by society. We've seen this message excellently executed in Nimona, and I assume it's the message in the Blue Kraken Girl movie, but I don't know, I didn't watch it because I heard it was bad. I like to call this the Shrek message. Shrek definitely wasn't the first thing with this message. I mean, X-Men existed before it, so yeah. But it was the first I watched. Like we see in these movies, in real life, many kids grow up being taught people different from them are freaks. So they grow up avoiding or even trying to persecute minority groups. One of my favorite lines from Nimona is, kids, little kids, they grow up believing that they can be a hero if they drive a sword into the heart of anything different. It's a line that really resonated with me, and since bigotry seems to be on the rise, or is at the very least getting louder, or maybe I'm just noticing it more, hopefully it's the last attempt of it staying, Nimona feels even more relevant than Shrek ever was to me. While I don't think Turtles quite reaches the deepness of Nimona's lesson and heart, I still think it still tackles its message incredibly well. Like Nimona, I guess this has become a Nimona video now too. Please watch Nimona, it's amazing, it's wonderful. The news media in this movie helps to spread the fear of the different, a thing real-life media tries to do all the time, so the cis-straight right man can stay in power. As soon as April is able to show everyone through the news the mutants are the good guys, the public opinion on them changes, and the people no longer fear them. I do think this changing of people's minds might have been a little rushed, but not enough to negatively impact any feelings I have towards this movie. I also think it would have been a lot more impactful if the evil secret agency somehow controlled the news on the mutants, because it would have made that side much more threatening and given them more to do, more plot relevance. But that's nitpicking at this point since they helped feed into Splinter's fear of humans in a realistic way, and that's honestly enough to justify their purpose in this film. Oh, also I think the voice acting in this is terrific. Everyone feels like themselves in no small part thanks to the writers and actors. And since they actually got teens for the Ninja Turtles, I think that's perfect. Pay them, you son of I do think the side mutants could have been given more to do and more character, though. The soundtrack is also really fun, and the vibe goes really well with the action scenes, which are also pretty good. Action's obviously an important part of the movie. I think the scene where it cuts between multiple different fights very fluently is really well done and pretty damn unique. And the last fight excellently shows the Turtles being able to work together now, something they very much struggled with in their first fight. Gotta love when characters actually improve throughout a movie instead of staying in the same skill level. So now let's check the lab results. The lab results show that thanks to childhood nostalgic, combined with a rich story and great themes, and mixed with great writing, acting, fights, and characters, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is an 8 out of 10. Highly recommend for any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan, or really anyone that's just looking for a fun time. Also, heck yeah, Shredder's coming, baby! Woo!